Good morning. Feels really weird to be up here again, I'm not gonna lie. Please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, and Alan, it's not moving. Okay, four-way test, I think we all know. All things we think, say, or do. Is it the truth?
Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships?
No, scroll.
Will it be beneficial? There it goes.
Okay, told you. Scroll.
Okay, thank you. I tried. Apparently I'm not capable of scrolling.
You'd think someone in your
Now, but look, what am I doing wrong? Okay, Alan, what am I doing wrong?
Nothing.
Oh.
It's a map. I have no experience.
Okay, who's going to introduce our guests today?
Good morning, everyone. This morning we have with us Rachel Workman over here. Hi, Rachel. And our speaker, Jessica Sorensen, and her son, Sky.
Okay, so I'm taking taking something from Erica's playbook. Today is International Haiku Day. And a haiku is a 3-stanza poem. The first line has 5 syllables, the second line has 7 syllables, and then the third line has 5 syllables. So I played with ChatGPT and asked it to write us a couple haiku about Rotary. And it says, shared tables and plans, small acts ripple outward far, communities rise. And the second one it came up with was morning meetings hum, ideas spark into action, service finds its way. Wow. AI can do things well when you ask it the right way. So we have a couple photos of Rotarians in the wild. Erica and Jen sent a couple pictures from Italy. So I know they're really roughing it. I don't know if you have seen any of their other pictures, but they're having a really tough time. So we should all send them lots of sympathy. And
they are the only people I've known who drink beer and eat popcorn. And have you seen those pictures? It's like they're drinking all beer, not wine.
Yeah, they're drinking a lot of beer in Italy. And then Bill sent pictures of Kurt Harris, Bill Manning, and Greg Pod enjoying some golf and beach time. Okay, our announcements today. Tomorrow, there are 2 events for the district going on. One is a workshop with Jim Holderman and a couple other speakers. It's down in Littleton. It's called Turning Conflict into Collaboration. They are limited on the number of people who can be there. Last I heard, which was about 2 days ago, they had a few spaces left. From 8:30 to 3:30, it's going to be a fantastic event. So I highly encourage you, if you have nothing going on tomorrow, to consider going down for that. And then Denver Metro South is hosting an AI workshop for real people. So if either of those are of interest, they can be found on the district website. May 2nd is the District Leadership Lab. So this is for those of you who've gone to the District Learning Conference in the past, this is a half-day session. There's going to be not just things to learn about Rotary, but there's going to be some phenomenal just life stuff lessons that can be applied to Rotary. They're going to have, she has, I believe, 18 different sessions that people can attend that day. It's going to be held at Front Range Community College. It is free to attend. So don't let the name fool you. You do not have to be in leadership in Rotary to attend this event. It's just a good way to learn some fantastic new information, hear from from some phenomenal speakers and meet Rotarians from around our district. So I encourage you to look for that. And the third one I'm going to highlight is Rotary Night at the Opera. The current executive director of the Colorado Opera is a Rotarian, and she is working with district. They're going to be doing this Rotary Night at the Opera. Tickets start at $35 and go up from there. And if you purchase your tickets through the district's website, 10% of your ticket price goes to the Polio Plus Fund. So it's a fantastic way to enjoy a night at the opera, spend some time with other Rotarians, and it benefits Polio Plus.
What's the show?
I don't remember. I'll look and tell you. Is it Madam Butterfly? Thank you, Bob. So very fun night. Okay, next we're gonna go general announcements.
Yes, Scott's coming up.
Hi, everybody. I'm Mary Ann Temple, and this is my Scott.
Incoming president.
I'm here. I'm going to wear my assistant governor hat right now. I normally don't do that when I come to my home club, but there's so many new members to Evergreen Rotary that you may not know the history of the Area 8 social. Probably has been around for almost 20 years. It's where all the 5 clubs in our area get together. And last year, they really elevated the purpose of it and made a fundraiser for the joint Area 8 literacy project called Imagination Library. And this year, the club presidents decided, especially with what's happened with our youth in Evergreen this year in the fall, that we really wanted to highlight a long-standing Rotary project, youth services that is all over the world called RYLA. But RYLA stands for Rotary Youth Leadership Awards. And for those of you who are fairly new to Rotary, it is a week camp for both high schoolers and middle schoolers. Middle schoolers is called Young RYLA. They meet up at the YMCA of the Rockies in Estes Park. And it is a amazing leadership, bonding, and it's what kids need now more than ever, is to get their cell phones out of the way and learn how to just be with each other and solve problems and make new friends. And so Rotary is a driving force of this. And in our district, it's Rocky Mountain RYLA, which is probably, in my opinion, the best RYLA ever, right, Kimra? And we, in this club, are some very, I don't want to highlight Kimra too much, but she is. Kimra, Bill Downs, Kurt Harris. If it wasn't for them, our Bill Manning too, yeah. Rocky Mountain RYLA wouldn't be what it is today. So I'm asking to please, we have a couple more days to RSVP. This is your chance to come, have fellowship with other Area 8 Rotarians from our other 5 clubs, and then also hear these amazing young kids that have graduated from RYLA in the program. And the keynote speaker is the lead junior counselor, Gabby Otera, and she's going to give a great presentation. And we're just asking for your support. If you have the free time Thursday night, please come. And is there anything else you want to say?
Can I have 1 more minute?
Yeah.
Quick story. Both of my kids got to go to RYLA, and my daughter went to Young RYLA. And I went to a concert. It's one of those middle school where you sit in the gym and your kids are all playing instruments. And the band director stood up and he said, "These kids are amazing." He said, "For the first time ever, I had someone come up and say, 'Thank you. I really appreciate you as my teacher.'" And, then he proceeded with the concert. And after the concert was over, my daughter said, "Thank you, Young RYLA, that was me."
Fun story about Young RYLA. My son also went, and they did a word cloud. The counselors did a word cloud for each student with words that described them. my son is now a junior in college, and that word cloud is with him in his dorm. So it makes a big impact.
Follow up on Ryla, that's not the reason I'm up here. But I was a senior counselor for 13 years. And what I really loved about the program, you don't hear about these type of kids. I mean, they're the future leaders of this world and nation. And if you go to Ryla and see these kids, no problem going forward. So what I'm here is for Young Rotary. They're having an event here a week from tomorrow. And they're feeding people, and they made some bowls. And as far as this, I can't remember the actual name of them, but last week, Michelle and I asked for some help from you guys as far as volunteering to help set up and tear down and so forth. And it will be here a week from Saturday. Setup starts at 4:30, and we'd like your help.
Okay.
Any questions?
What's the timing of it?
That'll be it's going to be from 5:30 to 8:30.
Thank you.
Okay. Happy Bucks.
Okay, Happy Bucks. Who has Happy Bucks today? Don't be shy.
Happy Bucks. I didn't get to go to the Home and Garden show because I went to South High School in Denver, and this last weekend they celebrated the 100th anniversary of South High School. Wow. So I attended that. A lot of memories. When did I get old? I mean, all these old people wandering around in their old campus.
Did you open the place?
Yes, I did. Yeah, I graduated in '67, so I was just talking about that. You look at all this, there was everybody from the 1900s. I didn't see anybody from the 2000s. So a great event, great memories, and had a great time.
I have $5 because my 5th grandchild was born right before Easter. Another little grandson. He's super cute. William James Temple. So anyway, I'm very blessed.
So I have $5 happy. Several of them for my new friend Rachel. Rachel found us on the internet because she wanted to meet people who were doing good in the world, and it led her to us. So that's great. So welcome. Thank you so much. And also, last week, not today, but last week was National Kazoo Day. One of my goals in life is to teach the world to play kazoo. So if you need a kazoo after the club meeting, I'm your person. I need one of those envelopes. Okay, I got it. Anyway, 34 happy bucks. Just finished my 34th busy season. As Fritz Taylor, I've been doing it a lot longer than that.
Any more happy bucks? Well, I have some, and I know our theme for Rotary is service over self, but right now I'm going to talk about self. That's okay. I just published my 5th novel, and it's called Beyond This World, There's a World I Want. And for this month only on ebook, it's for 99 cents. So it's an easy one. It's gotten 5-star reviews from Literary Titan, Reader's Favorite, and Reader Views. It's the story of a real life event that took place at a monastery in Italy in September of 1944, an atrocity that happened. And it's also dedicated to the women of the Italian resistance. So it's out now, 99 cents on Amazon. All you have to do is type in my name on that Amazon cursor and get it for just 99 cents this month only. Thank you.
And I'm going to need an envelope too because I've got some happy bucks. My wife and I closed on a house yesterday in Evergreen. So we're going to be Evergreen residents and really excited.
Yeah. Congratulations.
Okay. Jerry, do you want to come up? Alan, I need to switch the.
I want to rave.
Good morning. I have the pleasure of introducing Jessica Sorensen this morning. Jessica is a board-certified physician assistant specializing in surgical, medical, and cosmetic dermatology. She graduated from Colorado State University with honors, earning her Bachelor of Science in Biology and Psychology with a minor in neurobiology. In 2008, she earned her Master's of Physician Assistant Studies from the University of Colorado School of Medicine. Anyway, May is National Skin Cancer Awareness Month, so I asked her to come on up and talk to us about this morning.
Thank you so much.
Give me just a quick second and we'll be ready to go. I've got too much going on on this silly screen. All right.
He doesn't serve me. He doesn't serve me. He's a big picture.
I'm surprised you remember that.
Helen, you're not Russell, it's obvious.
Hey, you got the B team today.
You know, we can fix things. You don't know, not yet.
Well, thank you guys for having me. Again, I'm Jessica Sorensen, and Dr. Ming actually invited me to come and talk to you guys today. I said no. Because I am not a public speaker. This is probably the scariest thing for me to do, to come out and talk to you. And everyone looks very scary right now.
So all you have to do is push that over and it goes to the next slide.
Oh,
See how
thank
that
you.
works? Okay. Do you need anything? I'm leaving.
So originally I did say no because this is uncomfortable for me, but the more I started thinking about this, Evergreen in the community is very important to me.
Eat it. Literally.
My family and I have lived here now for 4 years. My husband is Dr. Sorensen. He works at Newest Physicians there over in Bergen Park.
He's my doctor.
My family, you know, I have 2 children. My son goes to Evergreen Middle School, and my daughter goes to Bergen Elementary School. And again, this community means everything to us. So I'm trying to imagine that I'm just speaking to a room of patients, a big exam room. So bear with me while I kind of get a little bit more comfortable up here. So
Are you related to a lady who plays golf?
no.
Okay.
I've heard of her though.
Alan, it's not working.
It's not working. I don't know. It's frozen.
All right.
There we go.
We're just gonna have to
That's
mess with the pad.
okay. So the goals of this lecture really to go over the different types of skin cancer so that you can identify them. We'll go over some easy treatment methods and how you can prevent them. And then living up here in Evergreen, we do have a very unique environment. So I'm going to talk about how to protect your skin and how to care for it. And we'll do a little bit of myth busting as well. So one of the biggest things I want you to come away with is that skin cancer does not discriminate. Young people, old people, people of light skin and dark skin, we can all get skin cancer. There are different risk factors for different people, but just keep that in mind that it is actually very common. So we know a lot of these people up here. We have Bob Marley, and he actually died from melanoma. This is kind of surprising to some people because he is dark skinned, but he had a common skin cancer. We know Jimmy Buffett, he died from a very rare type of skin cancer called Merkel cell carcinoma. Again, this is an extremely rare type of skin cancer, but very aggressive. Jimmy Carter, he had melanoma. He had a very advanced type of melanoma. So he had melanoma that metastasized to his brain, but also his liver. But with very advanced therapies, he actually lived another 10 years with that. And then some people know Kathy Sabin. She's a Colorado celebrity, and she's on 9 News. She is very public about her skin cancer journey. She's had both of the 2 most common types of skin cancer, called the basal and the squamous cell carcinomas. So a really fun fact to realize is that up to 50% of fair-skinned individuals who live to age 65 will develop at least one type of skin cancer. So all the pictures that I put in my lecture are all from Evergreen that I've taken. This one is outside my daughter's school one day. So the three types of skin cancers, we have basal cell carcinoma, squamous cell carcinoma, and melanoma. The basal cell carcinoma is the most common type of skin cancer. Actually, it's the most common type of cancer in humans. So your lifetime risk is 1 in 3 of developing that, or 5.5 million cases per year, occurring in about 3.3 million people. So if you look at that number, it actually shows that most people will, develop more than one type of skin cancer. If anybody feels comfortable in the room, do you want to raise your hand and say that you've had either a basal cell or a squamous cell carcinoma? It's a good amount. Squamous cell carcinoma is the next most common type of skin cancer. It occurs in about 2 million people a year, and your lifetime risk is 7 to 11%. This one is a little bit more aggressive than the basal cell carcinoma. It can metastasize, but it really only does that if it's very advanced in immunocompromised people. Finally, we have melanoma, and this is the scariest skin cancer. This also can metastasize. It can shorten your life, and so finding this early is extremely important. The lifetime risk is 1 in 33, or about 100,000 people annually. I see these skin cancers all day long in my clinic. I see melanomas at least 3 to 4 times a month, so it's just important to keep that in mind. So what do these look like? We have the basal cell carcinoma. They can look several different ways. It can also be very subtle too. So it can show up as what we call a pearly papule there on the left, kind of look like a pimple in a way. It can look like a sore. It can be a sore that's not healing, or a scab that doesn't go away. It can look like a scar. It can look like a rash. Sometimes it even has some pigment in it. So it can be described as a sore that kind of comes and goes. It can bleed easily, and we usually describe it as a slower growing cancer. But the biggest thing to know about it is that it doesn't usually have a lot of symptoms, and a lot of people have them and don't realize it. With the squamous cell carcinoma, it is kind of described as a crusty or a scaly patch. It can also be a little bit subtle. It can look like a rash too. It can be a non-healing sore. It can bleed easily, and it actually can be a little bit uncomfortable and be painful. So here is our melanoma, the big scary one. When talking about melanoma and what to look out for, we say there's the ABCDEs of melanoma, and these are the qualities of melanoma for you to look out for. So there's the mnemonic for you to remember that. So A is for asymmetry. When you cut it in half, it should be roughly symmetrical on each side. The B is for border. It needs to be nice and smooth on the edges and not jaggedy like a puzzle piece. They should be all about one color, not have multiple colors in it. Should also not stand out in color. We call that the ugly duckling sign. If all your moles are a light brown or tan color and then a black one shows up, that one needs to get evaluated. Diameter matters just because there's more opportunity for change in larger moles, but being big on its own isn't necessarily bad. But the biggest thing for you to look out for is evolution or change, anything that is changing. So any pigmented spots on your body changing. So how is it that we take care of these skin cancers? There's many different ways. There's surgical ways, there's non-surgical ways. Excision, Mohs surgery, electrodesiccation and curettage. In the non-surgical ways, we can use chemotherapy, radiation, and immunotherapy, and I'll talk about those. So this is excision, a very common type way that we remove skin cancers. Basically, the area where the cancer is numbed up with lidocaine, so it's very comfortable, and it's done in the office as a very simple procedure. The cancer is localized, and a margin is put around it, and that's a predetermined margin depending on the type of cancer it is, how deep it goes, how aggressive it is. And then it's extended on the ends there to kind of look like an ellipse or a football. And that brings it together into a line scar. So there's a picture of me doing a simple excision there in the office. So some of you may have heard of Mohs surgery, and this is an advanced type of skin cancer removal. And it was developed a couple of decades ago. And the reason why it excels at skin cancer removal is that it keeps the defect very small. And it also has the highest cure rate. So what happens is you come in the office, the skin cancer is identified, and only that little area where the cancer is seen clinically is removed. But you stay in the office while that is being processed and the slides are being made, and the Mohs surgeon then looks underneath the microscope and determines if there's any cancer left. And at that time, they can go back if there's any cancer in one area. They actually keep track of it in a three-dimensional location, and they can say, look, at 2 o'clock, there's a little bit of that basal cell carcinoma. We'll go back there and just remove that little bit. And so it's kept very small. There's no margin that's put on it, just to preserve tissue in areas that it really matters, like the face, or if there's not a lot of skin, like the shins and sometimes the hands and feet. So, and then the area is closed. So the other thing that excels about Mohs surgery is that Mohs surgeons are very skilled at their closures, and they're trained in facial plastic surgery too. So this picture below of this lady here, she came in for her basal cell carcinoma, and Dr. Overman removed it, and it shows here where you see the markings there on her nose, where he actually moved skin around to close that spot there. If he would have just closed that little circle there with stitches, it would have raised up her nose and it would have left a really big, obvious defect there. So it was rotated around and closed together. And you can see that afterwards it healed very nicely. So it has really the best cosmetic outcome of all of the skin cancers and the best cure rate as well. So other ways that we can treat skin cancers, the first one is electrodesiccation and curettage. This is a very non-invasive way of treating skin cancer. The area is numbed up, it's scraped away, then it's burned a little bit with the cautery. It's done this a few times. This is really used for very thin skin cancers, and in places where it doesn't matter what the scar looks like, because it can leave a very bad scar, like a cigarette burn type scar. So we can use this on the back, or if people just don't really want to have a procedure done, then this can work really well. Then we have our chemotherapy options. That's Epudex, Klisyri, imiquimod, and this is a topical cream that you put on that can eradicate abnormal cells. This is usually done for a series of 4 to 6 weeks, and it can work also for the non-invasive skin cancers that are pretty superficial, but it does have side effects. It can make your skin very red. I call it hamburger face if you're putting it on your face. It can be a little bit uncomfortable, and it can also leave a scar, but for some people that's a very nice option. Then we have radiation. Radiation is very specific. It sounds like it wouldn't be very invasive, but it can be painful. It can also leave a scar. It requires multiple visits, and it actually increases your risk of further skin cancer. So we tend to use it more in the elderly or in areas on the skin that cannot be operated on easily. Finally, and the most advanced treatment option is called immunotherapy. And this is actually using your own immune system to come and fight the cancer cells. So it's kind of tricking your own body to kill abnormal cells. And this is used a lot in advanced melanomas and sometimes advanced squamous cell and basal cell carcinomas. So some people are wondering, well, what about precancer? Precancer is very common. We start seeing precancer usually in about the 5th decade of life on sun-exposed areas. And it looks a little bit like this. They're kind of crusty spots. Sometimes they're a little irritated when you touch them. Sometimes we have large areas that are involved, like on this gentleman's face. You can see kind of the redness, and the scaliness there. So these precancerous lesions usually turn into squamous cell carcinoma. And we know that most squamous cell carcinomas actually arise from them, about 60 to 80% of them. So when we see them, we like to treat them so that we can reduce your overall risk. So we've got several treatments for those. Many of you might be common. We use something called cryotherapy, and that's where we come at you with our little spray gun. And that's liquid nitrogen, and at negative 321 degrees, it actually kills those precancerous cells, and it leaves a little bit of a scab, and it hurts a little, but it's extremely effective when we just have individual precancers that we need to treat. Sometimes we can use those same chemotherapy creams to treat those precancers, but again, they have side effects too, so we're very careful with how we choose those. And finally, we have photodynamic therapy, which is red light or blue light. Some of my patients call it the blue light special. Things Kmart back in the day. So that's a way to actually treat your entire face or another area all at one time that specifically targets those precancer cells and actually prevents more from coming up. So we utilize these a lot if you have a big burden of that. So now that you know what to look out for, I included here a scary picture of another Mohs surgery. So I can convince you that getting an annual skin check is a really good idea. Some people think that their PCP is doing this. They tend to look, but they may not look that closely. So if your PCP is not doing that, come see a dermatologist and get that done. It's very simple. You can leave your shorts on. We look at you quickly but thoroughly, and we can actually find things that you don't realize are happening on you. So with skin cancer, early recognition is so important. It's so treatable, and most of the skin cancers we can even treat in our office with a quick procedure. Of course, prevention is a really good idea too. So we tell you to look out for anything new, anything changing, or sores that aren't healing. And hopefully you can avoid something that looks like this. But this is another one of Dr. Overman's patients. And it exemplifies how just a small area can actually have a large cancer in it. But he did a really advanced Mohs procedure there. And it actually, they come out looking very nicely. So here's my son and my husband doing another kind of prevention that some of you are familiar with up here, the fire prevention. But here's skin cancer prevention. Everybody knows about sunscreen. But what you may not realize about sunscreen is that all you need is an SPF 30 to really protect yourself against 97% of the sun's rays. So it's a logarithmic scale. 30 prevents 97%, a 50 is 98%, and a 70 is 99%. So, at least start with the 30, but if you want to do more, then that's a little bit more helpful. But a 30 is actually very powerful. You just need to reapply it every couple of hours that you're outside. There's two different types of sunscreen. We have our mineral-based sunscreens. That's titanium and zinc-based, and then the chemical sunscreens. Chemicals are always the ones that have the long names that are difficult to pronounce. So my patients always ask me, well, what's the best sunscreen? And I used to always have some good advice with that and telling them what I thought was the best ones. And typically mineral is a little bit better because it sticks on your skin. It's a physical protection, whereas a chemical sunscreen is a chemical reaction that can get used up with heat and light. But back in 2020, the FDA started regulating sunscreens. So a sunscreen is actually considered an over-the-counter drug, non-prescription drug. So now they're rigorously tested and they have to meet safety and efficacy requirements. So all sunscreens have to work. So I always say the best sunscreen is the sunscreen that you'll wear. So again, at least an SPF 30 every day that you're outside. Consider wearing UPF clothing, hats, and sunglasses. And a really big tip from me, if you want to write this down, this is really good, awesome supplement that you can take to prevent skin cancer. And it's called niacinamide or nicotinamide, and it's a B vitamin, and it has very, very good data that reduces your skin cancer risk. And there's a lot of studies on this, so the risk actually varies between 15 and 54%, but taking this twice a day and very limited side effects. But do not get niacin, because niacin is what causes a big flushing reaction that some doctors will tell you to take for other reasons. So, nicotinamide. So now we're going to switch gears a little bit and do a little myth versus fact. So chemicals in sunscreen are toxic. I hear this a lot. People are afraid of those chemicals. And of course, this is a myth. So the reason why some people are now afraid of the chemicals in sunscreen is that back in 2019, there was a study that evaluated the absorption of sunscreens. And in order to do this, they took 24 people and they applied sunscreen to 74% of their body and reapplied it 4 times a day for 4 days consecutively. And they found that there was nano absorption of these chemicals into the body. So that scared a lot of people, but what are these chemicals doing? They actually did not find that they were toxic. They did not find that they cause cancer, and they do not disrupt hormones in humans. It was just an absorption study, but they didn't find any problems with safety. So I actually went back, they did a better study, they increased the number of participants, and they confirmed the same thing. So basically, when it comes down to it, if you're afraid of the chemicals, then just use a mineral-based sunscreen, but the chemicals have not been found to be dangerous. So another myth versus fact, that you should get 10 to 15 minutes of sun exposure a day so that you get your vitamin D. And I created a nice little table here to explain the difference between getting the vitamin D from the sun and the vitamin D from supplements. And the problem is that we all absorb our vitamin D differently. Everybody has variable rates of absorption, and it has to be converted from an inactive form in your skin to an active form in your body. And we all do this at different rates, and we're not that good at it, to tell you the truth. It's only the UVB rays that actually causes conversion, and 95% of the rays that hit the earth are actually the UVA rays. So your body actually becomes less efficient with this as you get older, and then your body also limits the amount that you can make. So you can't stockpile the amount of vitamin D that you make by being out there longer periods of time. So the biggest thing that we know is that any amount of UV damage or UV rays cause damage to your DNA. So even 5 minutes a day, that's still damage. So when you get it from a supplement, it's reliable, it's safe, it doesn't depend on the weather. You can adjust the dose of it, and it doesn't cause any damage to your DNA. So another myth versus fact, I don't need to wear sunscreen in winter. And of course, this is a myth because the UV exposure does happen year round. So even at higher altitudes where we're at right now, we have stronger UV rays. And those rays do penetrate through the clouds, and it's anticipated that 80% of those rays actually go through those clouds on a cloudy day. Also, 80% of the UV radiation that hits snow reflects right back up to you. So you can even ponder to say that if you're outside in the snow, that you might actually get twice as much sun because you're getting it directly from the sky and then kind of reflecting right back up to you. So switching gears now to skincare and Evergreen. We do live in a very unique environment up here. As we all know, the biggest thing is our altitude. So an interesting fact is that for every 1,000 feet gain in elevation, we get about 10 to 12% more of UV. So that equates to about a 1.8% difference, or 1.8 times UV rays that hit us compared to being at sea level. So it's very intense, and we all have experienced that. Also, we live in very low humidity, our dry mountain air. This increases water loss from our skin, leads to dryness and irritation and rashes. And throughout my day, I'm seeing Evergreen residents, coming in for me for new rashes. They're very dry, they're irritated, and their eczema flares. The cold winters, that also increases our water loss. We also have our indoor heating systems. And also a lot of us, have outdoor lifestyles here. We like being outside, enjoying this beautiful environment. So Evergreen, we need to moisturize more. We need to take care of our skin with good skincare and protect ourselves with our sunscreen. So to understand how our skin functions is to understand how the barrier of our skin works. And in dermatology, we like to compare it to a brick wall. And in normal skin, we have our bricks all lined up. We have a sebum barrier, and those are the oils on our skin actually protecting it. And because of that, pathogens can't get in. Those are the viruses, fungi and bacteria, also allergens, and these are the irritants. Can't get in and get exposed. Also, the biggest thing is down below, you see the moisture is blocked from leaving. But in damaged skin, this is like dry skin, eczema skin, anybody who has a rash, this barrier is malfunctioning. It's not a stacked brick wall. You see that it's kind of crumbling. The moisture can escape and the allergens can get in and the viruses and bacteria, they can also get in. So we want to protect ourselves so that we don't have this damaged skin. So I have expert tips for you, and this is what I recommend to all of my patients. For anybody who has sensitive skin, using a gentle soap in the shower is extremely important. These are our favorites: Cetaphil, CeraVe, Dove, Vanicream. They're really bland, but they clean very well. And the reason why is because harsher soaps actually strip those oils and they lead to dryness and they break up that skin barrier. The other thing to think about these is that your skin is actually very acidic and soaps tend to be more alkaline. So the more alkaline soaps are going to strip those barriers. And so we want to keep things pH balance. The worst soaps that cause problems are the ones down below. So Dial, Irish Spring, Ivory soaps. They actually have that squeaky clean sensation after you're done with your shower, but that squeaky clean is actually bad because it's stripped all the oils off of your skin. It feels very clean, but it's very irritating for a lot of people. Natural soaps also do the same thing. So another expert tip is to moisturize. And we're talking about the thicker cream moisturizers because they form that semi-occlusive barrier to trap the moisture in your skin. So what also happens is that these better moisturizers have ceramides in them, and ceramides actually help to rebuild that skin barrier. So they're actually acting almost like an over-the-counter medication because they don't just add that moisture, but they tell your body to produce more moisture and help with the repair of your skin. So these are the good ones here. The other thing too is that a lot of times lotions are just watered down creams, and they do that with alcohol actually. So it's better just to use the more concentrated one in the jar form. So our final myth is natural and organic cleansers are better. There's nothing wrong with natural and organic. A lot of people like that. I like natural and organic as well. But if you have sensitive skin, these things are actually made with lye to be natural and organic. And lye is very alkaline. So again, that's going to strip that barrier. Finally, they use a lot of essential oils, and those are common irritants for a lot of people. So keep that in mind. If you have dry, sensitive, eczema-prone skin, then the natural soaps aren't your best option. Finally, a few extra tips here. If you're struggling with dry skin, avoid the hot tub, too much of it anyway. Avoid hot, steamy showers and baths. Avoid excessive and extensive bathing. Stay hydrated. Consider a whole house humidifier. So that's the end of my talk. Thank you very much.
We have questions. I would like to know more about essential oils. Why are they not as good for your skin?
It's not that they're bad for your skin. It's that some people are sensitive to them. So they can be healing for some people, but it's one of the most common allergens that we find. So when people have problems and they're just getting a new rash and maybe they tried a new soap or a lotion, that's one of the things that we ask, and we hear that commonly. So it's not bad, but for some people it can be.
I have a question. Do you have a theory about why people take off all their clothes and lay around in the sun all day?
I think that a tan is a beautiful thing. It looks great. It's not good for us, but I think people used to strive to have that. I don't know. But we don't recommend that.
What dose of vitamin D? I know it's over the counter. What is the dose you recommend?
It varies. It varies on your age. It varies on the level. If you're actually low, your doctor can actually measure. The measurable amount of vitamin D is called 25-hydroxy vitamin D, and that's the active vitamin D in your body. It usually is about 1,000 milligrams a day, but sometimes if you're trying to replace that, your doctor might even say taking 15,000, it's actually international units, a vitamin D a week. So usually you can do that for a few months and replace that.
How do you spell that supplement?
Oh,
The supplement you said,
yeah.
how do you spell it?
It's niacinamide. And one of my favorite ones is made by a company called HelioCare. And what's interesting about that is HelioCare is a supplement that was developed to actually protect your skin from UV damage. And what it does is it sequesters the free radicals that are formed when the UV radiation hits your skin and keeps it from hitting your DNA. So it's a really cool, really advanced treatment that you can just get from Amazon. But HelioCare has one that has the niacinamide in it already.
So when you sleep with a doctor, you get to hear about this almost every day. Everything right up there she talked about. And so, like you see your dentist twice a year, you see a eye doctor once a year, you get a physical once a year. I would recommend, and Marcia did send me to Dr. Sorensen to actually look, and we found some little rascals. And so anyway, but I highly recommend again that you do the same thing just like you do with your eyes and your teeth and your physical. Because what's the number one organ? The largest organ in our body? Your skin.
Could you do a deep further apart?
You needed to work out.
So I think you did a great job today.
Thank
Well, and I have to confess, I had a bad attitude about this topic this morning. So I'm just confessing that you totally turned my attitude around.
Oh, thank you. Well, that means everything.
Well, my two questions are, what's your favorite part of your job? And what drives you crazy about your job?
Oh, that's a good question. My favorite part is just meeting new people all day long. I actually see about 30 patients a day. Dermatology is kind of a fast-paced place, but I get to meet so many wonderful people. But I also like the variety of what I see. So, I might be doing a skin cancer surgery, or I might be treating eczema or a bad rash, acne, pimples. Maybe I'm draining an abscess. But it's always something different. So it's just exciting and it keeps me on my toes. Let's see, the hardest, most annoying part of my job.
No, same page.
Yeah.
You're a lot of friends.
I think it might actually be fighting some of those myths too. So sunscreens are bad, or, natural and organic can be, rough on skin. So sometimes I have to
Dr. Google.
Oh, that is a good one. Yeah, almost everybody already comes in with a diagnosis now. It may not be correct, but I definitely think most of my patients do their first consult with Dr. Google.
What about spray-on tans?
Oh,
tanning boots.
I think they're great. So anybody that wants to have a little extra color in their skin, nothing's ever been found to be toxic about them. I will use them occasionally too. So I say that, it's okay to get a tan in a can, but just don't get it from the sun. Okay, sorry. Tanning booths are not good. They are not good at all, because it's just those concentrated UVB rays so that you get a burn, so that you get a tan. And the tan is just an indication of damage. So.
Any other?
So if it's not treated, how bad is it?
Well, they're slow growing most of the time. So the basal cell and squamous cell carcinoma, they can be there for years sometimes, and people don't even notice them, and they're slow. And they're not initially bad, but they can get invasive. So the basal cell carcinoma, that doesn't usually shorten our life, but the squamous cell carcinoma, that one can metastasize, and we see that not commonly, but it can be. So that needs to be taken care of. And of course, melanoma used to have a pretty big death sentence, but now we have really advanced treatments so that even when we find them and they're bad, we can treat them. But most of the time we find them at a very early stage, and we can treat them in our office with non-invasive surgeries.
this isn't a cancer question, but you kind of triggered me, my thoughts when you were talking about the soaps and sensitive skin and allergens. Do you have any recommendations for laundry soap?
It depends. If you do have more sensitive skin, then using the free and clear types, are a lot more gentle. But it really just depends. So I'll ask about that if we're kind of dealing with rashes that we're trying to figure out. So it's really like, how is your skin doing? How's your family's skin doing? Whether or not you need to change that.
Any others?
I don't think this is cancer related, but as we age, many of us show dark spots on hands or face or whatever that's exposed more. Can you comment on the dangers or lack of danger of that or treatability?
The dark spots, a lot of times, there's different kinds of dark spots. Some of them are hereditary, like we call those seborrheic keratoses, and we get more of those with time and genetics. Those don't cause any problems. But freckling and that sort of thing can be an indication of sun damage. So the more dark spots that you have, the more that indicates that you can have some problems underneath the skin and things developing. So they really can show that. It depends. It's more or less a cosmetic thing for the dark spots, but a lot of people aren't happy with them. So we do have treatment options for that too.
I lost a friend to melanoma a few years ago, but his cancer was in his heel. And I thought that was unusual. He was outside quite frequently. Is that unusual why the cancer would show up in the heel, which is not exposed to sun?
Right. I'm sorry to hear that too. It can show up anywhere. So melanoma, it's not just from the sun. That's the biggest risk factor, but it's also highly genetic too. So it can show up on its own. It can show up from a mole that's already pre-existing. It can show up anywhere on the body. And that's why during our skin exams, we look between the toes, we look at the scalp, we look almost everywhere because it can show up anywhere where you have skin. And even Bob Marley, his was on his toe. And he thought it was a soccer injury, so it went unnoticed for a long time. So it can show up anywhere and not just from the sun.
Okay. Thank you very much for being here. Rotary is working to eradicate polio from the world. So as a thank you for your time today, we'll be donating 60 doses of the polio vaccine in your name. So thank you. Thank you. And we appreciate you. And have a wonderful day. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Go out and make it a great day and unite for good. Thank you. You were talking about manifesting. I just
Thank you. And you're going But it's on your student.
Yes. And as you know, my brother does run
Email address. Is my name spelled out? I don't know. Ted's not in town. He's not out. Yeah. Okay. Oh, I guess the Ted gets back to town.
Well, especially your age.
It is very much different. So all those pictures are kind of that's something.
Right. Once you got the mic in front of your mouth.
But we are. So I said, all the way to